I'm already in Columbus, Ohio, getting ready for the Arnold 2025.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution. We're back live for another installment of Heavy Muscle Radio. It's Arnold Week 2025. Chris is already in Columbus, Ohio. Got there very early this year, and there's a good reason for that. We're going to find out in a second. Chris, what are you doing in Columbus, Ohio so early?
Am I allowed to publicize my product line, Dave?
You are. Chris only uses one product, so you might as well publicize it, right?
I was going to put it in the advertorial space, but when I brought my Fiberlize to...
He doesn't leave home without it. It's like the old American Express commercials, Chris.
It was like emergency use, and I couldn't get the cap off without tearing the label off.
You remember back in the day they had those American Express commercials? Don't leave home without it, that kind of thing.
Traveler's checks. How about that? I remember my parents used to take traveler's checks places.
Yeah, because they were afraid that they were going to get the cash stolen from them, right?
Yeah, like people traveled with cash.
No one even knows what we're talking about. No one has any clue what a traveler's check was. What you would do is you would take your cash, you'd go to the bank, and you get like traveler's checks, so you can use it as cash. But if you lost it, you can get it refunded because there was like a record.
My parents used to like, we got to get the traveler's checks. The traveler's checks.
I went to Barcelona with my friend Frank Wilhelm in 1991, I think it was. Yeah, 91. And we were gonna go buy steroids there, which we did,
And you shut the Winstrol company down.
It was because it was legal there at the time, and so he had like all these he would do a lot of security work for people. So he had all these like straps with money strapped to him because we had to bring cash because we want what are we gonna do? Use a credit card to buy the stuff? So, and that's back then. No one checked. The airport security was a joke back then, so no one really checked. So we go there, we have all this cash, and we would go into these pharmacies and we'd pull out these wads of cash, and people they would go crazy. They'd be like, "Come in the back room," because it wasn't illegal, and they didn't care what the hell we were doing with it. We were buying those. Remember the little Zambon? They were single ampule Winstrol amps. They would come 3 in a box. They were made by Zambon. Right there, the factory, the Sheringham and the Zambon factory were right there in Barcelona, actually. So these pharmacies would call up their supplier, and they would get as many as you need. So we're like, we need 1,000 amps or whatever, and they're like, we'll have it later today, after siesta, because if you guys have never gone to Spain, they have siestas, so they close the pharmacy in the middle of the day. Everyone goes and takes a nap. So we came back later that day, and sure enough, there were like, 300 boxes or 333 boxes with 3 amps in each box. You know what 3 amps cost?
Oh, probably $2 each. 3 amps, probably like less than $9.
$1.50
total.
$1.50 for the 3 amps. Yeah. So we were paying like 50 cents an amp because we bought so many. So I don't know if they gave us a wholesale price. I think in the pharmacy it was like $2.50, but she gave us a better price because I bought so many of them.
You could have got like 150,000. Just got charged plane back.
Well, you know what? His thing. I didn't like Anadrol back then, but he obviously had a better take on what the market demanded from Anadrol. The whatever their version, they had their own Spanish version of the Anadrol. It was like an oxymetholone or something. Or they had some kind of name. I don't remember what it was. They had stopped making it there. And they said, we don't know how many we can get because we don't know how many are left. So there was only 30, there were 30, boxes of the stuff left. There were 100 tabs per box at 50 milligrams a piece. Yeah. And when we got back with those things, man, people were going crazy because there was remember they stopped making the American Anadrols, those Syntex ones that were in the red bottle.
Syntex, I don't know that name.
I'm sure Bob Grushkin used to pick up that bottle of the Syntex Anadrol.
Right when you said Syntex, that's exactly what came to my. It was like that small little bottle.
It was in a glass bottle, too, a glass brown bottle, right?
Yeah, and I think it was red label.
Red label, you're right, with the red box.
Yeah.
It was beautiful looking. It was like $25 if you bought it from the pharmacy. They would sell them for $3 a pill. So a bottle basically went for $300 all day long. They went for it. Oh, Natalia Coelho was in the chat. I love to see women in there. Anyway, so we went and we figured, all right, we bought all this stuff. Now we had to figure out, Chris, how we were going to bring it back. And I wasn't stupid. Like we weren't going to like risk putting it in our suitcases and bringing it back. I knew guys that did that. They roll the dice because if you get stopped in customs, you're going to get arrested. So we repacked. We took it all out of the packages and we taped all the ampules together and we wrapped them in bubble paper and we sent them back to we mailed them back to ourselves, like to PO boxes. I'd probably say 90% got through.
Yeah.
It's pretty good for ourselves. The problem was, and a lot of people don't realize this, is that in 1990, thanks to what's his name, Biden, they made anabolic steroids a controlled substance. And when they did that, you can no longer go to a pharmacy with a regular prescription and just fill it, which is what everyone was doing before that, including Bob and everyone else. Every doctor would just write a prescription, and it was actually a much better system because everyone was using real stuff. So now no one can get anything anymore. And the only thing available was because the American stuff was on lockdown, was the European stuff. And, there was a lot of people starting to create fakes and counterfeits. So if we didn't go to Europe, you can't compete at this point. So, and the European stuff was really good. It's at that point in time. So we went there and when we came back with all that stuff, that's how I did my first, couple cycles, and my first shows was all from all that stuff. We stockpiled it and used it for a couple of years. But, then they buckled down on getting stuff through, and, you couldn't do it so easily anymore. But that was my days.
Weren't you a gas, Dave? When you first heard there was some such thing as fakes?
Well, what people don't realize, it wasn't like underground stuff where there was no testing kit. So what you would do is people would fake the real stuff. So instead of the Anadrol bottle, they would try to create the same exact label. The problem, most of the time, the way you caught it, with the best way to catch it, and I don't know if you knew this, was that the way it worked from the pharmacy was they would create a label and they would create the box and everything like that, and the pamphlet insert. And the pamphlet insert was always made of this tissuey paper. So a lot of times the fakes would be regular, like, copier paper, so you can tell it was too thick. Yeah. But the good ones, sometimes they wouldn't put the good ones, the good fakes, sometimes they got the real paper. But the problem was a lot of times, like, the label, instead of being square, it would be rounded. And they couldn't get the exact label. So if you were a good detective, you could see what didn't look perfect.
There was like I think maybe Dan Duchaine put something out on how
Phil Phillips did. Phil Phillips did say, yeah.
Phillips, how to detect fake ones.
Right. Like there was I remember the equipoise from the American veterinary pharmacies was very faked. People were putting Armorol into Winstrol bottles and selling it. Remember that? Because it looked like Winstrol. The problem is you inject Armorol into your leg, you get a serious fucking problem. And I know people that happened to. So you had to be really, but people didn't know, and they weren't that astute. Someone would hand them a bottle, sell them a bottle, and then they didn't know how to look for the fakes were. And a lot of times we started taste testing a lot of the stuff too. Like you would know, because a lot of the stuff was just nothing, It was like a sugar pill or something like that. And So we would, the anadrols and dianabols would always be very bitter. Testipionate would numb your tongue. Testananthate wouldn't numb your tongue. Deca numbed your tongue. Parabolin, which was trembolone, numbed your tongue. Primo didn't. So there was like certain, or I don't remember if Primo did or not, but there was certain things that you can by the way it tasted, you can tell if it was real. So nowadays we have Roy test kits. You can just go to DavePalumbo.com and buy the Roy test kits, and you can test your gear, whichever one does. We sell, Chris. I sell an insane amount of those kits, and I don't make them. Bill Llewellyn makes them, but I actually sell more of them than he does because people realize that for $20 you can see if what you're using is real. And you know what? I can't tell you how many pros that I have come to me and asked me, hey, I thought I've been, I haven't seen any changes in my physique, and I bought a kit from your site. What do you think of the results? And I'm like, there's nothing in there. And they're like, F, and they're pissed off. I said, why didn't you check it before you used it?
Wanted to save
18 weeks ago.
Wanted to save the $20.
I think you know what it is. I don't really believe that's the case because I don't think people care about the $20. What happens is, Chris, is they buy it from someone and the person says, "Listen,
it's the best.
Samson Dauda uses this stuff. Yeah. Derek Lunsford uses this stuff. It's the best stuff," and they want to believe it because they don't want they almost don't want to know. They almost don't. But I'm telling you guys, don't put your head in the sand. It's not worth it. And I see a lot of guys losing a whole year of progress because they were using fake stuff. It's not worth it. All right, so we got the Arnold Classic coming up. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about this. Have you seen this little back and forth that Phil Heath and Kai Greener got going on?
I have not. Now what's going on?
I'll pull it up on the screen. So I guess they wanted to do a seminar at the Arnold Classic. And they wanted to get Phil and Kai up on the stage, I think, to talk about the old days, which, kind of the way Ronnie and Jay used to do it.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if Kai didn't want to do it, but Phil wrote, "This could have been us doing a panel, Kai Green, but you're too busy trying to threaten me back to the stage. I offered to coach you. We could have talked about this as our fans would love to see us together. We could be like Ronnie and Jay, but you're too salty to sit with me."
Is that for real? Or
that's right from Phil Heath's statement that he put.
Is it sarcasm or is it?
No, I think he was upset. I think Phil wanted to sit down with Kai on that stage and go over the old times. I guess Kai is still harboring bad feelings towards Phil. That's the only reason I could think he wouldn't do it, right?
Case of Vieta symptoms.
It's really not Phil's fault. If anything, you can blame the judges. It's not Phil's fault, right?
It's just, if you can't put something behind you that, I would probably sit on the stage if there was like 3 miles between us with John Ray. So I don't understand why he can't.
Yeah, but you'd love to argue with Sean Ray on the stage. Yeah.
I'd bring Candace Owens with me to defend me.
Supposedly there's going to be a schedule which includes the likes of Sam Sulek, Chris Bumstead, Hani Rambod, who might be coming out of retirement, as far as we know, Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, and Greg Doucette. So it's a pretty stellar little cast of characters. Arnold people put together some really nice stuff. Oh, I was very surprised and very pleasantly surprised to hear that you got your son. You got some comp tickets.
Yes, nice. Yes, I got them from.
Brian Powers.
The
man himself who runs the Arnold Classic.
All right, Brian. I got him from Brian Powers, which I thought was...
It was very nice of him. Very nice.
Very nice. I sent him a message and said that, I'm here early, and if you need anything from me, whatever that may be, I don't know what that could be.
Yeah.
But, a nice gesture goes a long way. And that's because it was a nice gesture. It's not like... that I can't afford the tickets, but of course, nothing's better than everyone loves something complimentary.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? You're going to get press passes with us anyway, but it was nice that you can sit next to your son in the audience.
And I want to be able to see the show too, and it's going to be a great show. And there's, a lot of tickets, but there's good tickets and there's great tickets, and the great tickets allow you to see it like the guys are posing in your, in your gym, really.
Do you have great tickets?
Yeah, I got he gave me VIP, so
Okay.
I guess I'll finally get the picture with Arnold if they still do that. Do they do that?
They don't do that anymore. I haven't done that for 25 years, Chris. You remember? Tell people what they used to do, so because they don't know.
Right. Well, when Arnold started the Arnold Classic, if you bought a VIP ticket, you got a Polaroid, which people probably don't know what we're talking about. Before there were phone cameras, you got a Polaroid photo with Arnold. You just had to wait in the like insane long line, but not. I mean, Arnold is Arnold. Period. At the end of the day, full stop. But he did this when he was at the heyday of his movie career.
Mm-hmm.
So you were getting a picture with not only 7-time Mr. Olympia, but you were getting a personal photo with Arnold, who was at the time, just knocking out movie after movie that was blockbuster. Yeah. So it was like a real big deal. People would wait and wait and wait, and you would meet every single person who bought a VIP ticket.
You know what the funny thing was? I think someone gave me a set of VIP. I used to always get free tickets somehow because I would be working for different companies. Someone gave me a set packet of VIP tickets. I think maybe probably the company I was working for, Champion Nutrition or Metrex, when I was with them. And I was too lazy to wait on the line to take the picture with Arnold, to be honest with you. I said, you know what? I'm not waiting here. These people were waiting like 2-3 hours, Chris, to take this picture with Arnold.
Dave, I could beat the Arnold picture story with a Lou Ferrigno story.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Lou Ferrigno, at the height of the Hulk, went to Scarborough, Maine, and he was signing 8x10s. And he went to these. He was a guest. It's a Scarborough. What was it called? Scarborough Downs.
Okay.
It was a horse racing place. Where you bet on the horses.
Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
So I found out that he was going to be there, and they brought like Dr. J in at the height of his career, and
right.
And just thousands and thousands of people would show up for like Dr. J. They would have like big time celebrities. You know who the number one celebrity, like the biggest line of all time was? You can ask. Yep, Lou Ferrigno beat everyone. Dr. J.
Really?
He beat Gene Simmons was there. They would just have like an odd celebrity, and it would be a way to bring people to the track, and people would line up forever. And I think Lou Ferrigno's line, Dave, was a 6-hour line.
Wow. Was he big at the time?
It was, yeah, he was big. It was
muscularly big. I'm talking about muscularly big.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Skip, of course, said, "Oh, just go cut the line."
Skip Robinson.
My aunt took me. She was a gambler. And she used to take me to the races every Monday after.
So she was gambling while you were waiting on the line the whole time?
And so I went up and Lou had all these like bodyguard type people there, or the race did. And I was 15. So it was, I'll tell you what year it was, 15, 25, 35, wow. 40, 55. It was 55, 43 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that was when the Hulk was big, the show, right?
No, that was definitely. He was at the height of his career. Yeah.
The line was huge, and they would make it feel super important with like the police. Lou must have felt like it had to be one of the biggest events. I've never asked him about it.
He would be charging for the pictures?
No, there was no charge for the pictures.
Oh, they must have paid him a lot of money to go there. Yeah.
Must have paid him a fortune.
Yeah.
And they advertised it like crazy. And I went to the front of the line and skipped the line, and I was 15.
Oh, you did cut the line?
Yeah, I said, Skip Robinson said, and
because Skip really knew Lou?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
So I got to skip the 6-hour line to go and take a picture.
You did a chat cut, as Larry David would say.
Yeah, I got it was a black and white photo that Lou wrote on it. Lou, all you got is LOU, and he looked up for a second, and I said, Skip Robinson, and Lou was like, next. He was like frazzled.
Yeah, he couldn't even sign his last name.
Lou, and you could barely read it. Dave, it's an impossibility that he has ever in his career. I'm telling you. And you should text him. Ask him, do you remember going to Scarborough, Maine in like 1970?
I bet you he remembers. He's got a very good memory, Lou. I bet he remembers.
That line must have blown his.
That's why he just wrote Lou. He was signing for 6 hours,
Oh.
That's crazy. That's a good story. Obviously we're friends with Lou now, and I talk to him a lot. And I went, and when I first saw him, I think the first line I saw him on, however, was because everyone always used to say, "Oh, Lou charges for pictures and everything like that," and I'm like, you know what? I'm not. And this is, I think I was working for I don't even know maybe Muscular Development at the time, and I went up to him and I just bought a book. He had his book, and I really wanted to read the book. I figured I want his autographed book. I want to get his book ordered because I don't want to try to get like a freebie off him. Yeah. And I said, Lou, I want a book. Can you sign it? Oh yeah. And then he took a picture with me, and and it was great. And then after that, we became friends. I started interviewing him and stuff like that. But people don't realize those lines, Chris, are a fucking pain in the ass. Ask Jay, ask Dana Lynn Bailey, ask Monica Brandt, ask Ronnie Coleman. When you're signing pictures and taking pictures for 6, 8, 10 hours straight, even I was doing it at the Metrics booth, because they used to give away free pictures at the Metrics booth, nonstop. And you do it for 3 days in a row at the Arnold Classic, you want to blow your brains out after a while. Yeah. So it's hard. It's very hard to do. And so I really you got to understand that sometimes these guys are a little fast with you, but think about it. There's hundreds and hundreds of people that they're doing this for.
Oh, I talk about lines. I was just talking to someone who you and I know well today, this morning, and I was talking about lines and professionalism and bodybuilding. And 2 years ago, when I first took my son to, I think it was either the Arnold or the Olympia, and we're going through the trade show, and the lines were big for everybody and this and that. And then we saw this one line, and I said, it was so ridiculous, the line. And I said, hold on. I said, let's just go see who people are waiting for. Who could this possibly be? I said, they must have some reality TV star here, or a B-list movie star, or someone. And we went and cut the line just to see who it was. It was Jay's line.
Oh, that's funny.
It was insane. And so of course I cut the line.
Yeah. Another little chat cut. Yeah.
And I said, Jay, we can't. I told Jay, I said, we went to the front of the line because of my curiosity. I wanted to know who could people be waiting in such a long line for, and it's Jay.
Yeah, of course. And Bartley Weaver working the Metrics booth this year. Bartley Weaver. He trains with Derek.
Yeah, has he seen Derek?
Grego.
Has he seen Derek and Grego?
Bartley, have you seen Derek? How's he looking? Yeah, you know what? Everyone's talking about the egg prices. I went to Publix, Chris. They had no eggs, 0. There wasn't even one carton left. And then I went a couple days later, and they had one carton left, and it was the extra large eggs. I like the Egglands, and I grabbed it. I'm like, they're like, are you going to take that last carton? I'm like, I'll take anything at this point.
What's a dozen down right now?
Here it's about $6 or $7. This guy's saying it's $11 in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I just saw $7.99 before I left for a dozen.
If you could even get them. Sid said his wife went to Costco and they were completely out of eggs. Now they have a 3-carton limit per customer. Why would anyone overbuy eggs? What are you going to do with them? If you only eat so many eggs a day. That's why we have a deficit, because people have to overdo it. They're greedy.
It's in COVID, when you couldn't find the toilet paper, there was a place up in Maine that people would drive all the way up from New Hampshire to get it. I went in there. This guy had this little store.
Yeah.
And I think it was Poland, Maine. Poland. It was either Poland, and somebody had told me that they had toilet paper, and I went up there, and the entire store from shelf to shelf was stocked.
They probably made a fortune, that place.
Oh, they made a fortune. I went and bought 50 rolls.
I'm still using, what I was using paper towels for was I was putting my snakes on them. I was using that as bedding. So when I had a chance, I would always overbuy. So I have so many rolls of paper towels in my house, in my snake facility, that I haven't bought a roll of paper towels in about 4 years, Chris. That's how many paper towels I have still. Now, I don't put the reptiles on the paper towels anymore. I use Cocoa Blocks now, but But I have so many paper towels. It's unreal how many paper towels I have. But I stockpile, but I had a reason to stockpile. People buy stuff. They just want it because no one else has it, because they can say, I got paper towels in my house, or I got toilet paper in my house.
400 dozen eggs.
Yeah. It's funny. My neighbor, I live in, where I live. I live like a big piece of property. And so one of my neighbors has been, the last about 5 years ago, he put a little thing out in front of his house with a little box, and he wrote eggs for sale. I'm like thinking, who the heck's going to buy eggs from this guy? They're in the supermarket. I don't even have time to go over to his house and get them. I was almost ready to stop there the other day and ask him if he had eggs available.
But he had that sign when I came down there years ago.
Yeah. Oh, so you remember that? Okay, yeah.
Remember that sign.
So it's pretty funny. People are like, oh, you can get chickens there if you have a big piece of property. I'm like, you know what? Do I need another fucking shore? Because the problem is that there's coyotes at night. So you got to make sure the chickens are in the coop and lock them in my luck, one night I'll forget to put them in. They're going to be like fricasseed up by the coyotes the next day. And then I'll feel terrible. So I don't want to do it. I'd rather just pay someone for the eggs. Did you see, we were talking about Kai and Phil before. Did you see Kai once again teasing a comeback? Did you see this?
I did see that.
What's going on? How come he does this he must need money or something. I know he's starting to work for
you get trouble. Wait, Dave, you always get flack when you say Kai should come back, or maybe Kai will come back. So here's Kai saying he may come back. So
yeah, he's Rico from NPC.
Yeah,
well, Rico doesn't own NPC clothing anymore. He sold it back to Jim Mannion and the Mannion family, and so now he's starting his own supplement company that I guess Kai Green has some involvement with. I don't know what it is. I think they have a booth at the Arnold this weekend, so maybe we'll stop over there and see what's going on. But
little plug for JTV. Jay Cutler interviewed him, and that show will be up tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Oh, it is. Okay, yeah, I'm going to watch that.
So that's a long interview show.
Yeah, well, Kai is a very he's not a man of few words. Put it that way.
Well, he did only get to ask 2 questions, but it did last 3 hours.
Yeah. 3 hours. It's funny. Kai likes to tease people, and I noticed he wrote, if you read the thing, he said, "I've never retired. I don't know why people keep asking me if I'm making a comeback. I never retired," which is true. I never heard him say he retired.
Did he renew his IFBB card?
That's true. Lee Priest renewed his NPC card, his IFBB card. I'll bet you Kai has renewed it every single year. I bet he never let it lapse at all. The question is he teasing us because he's trying to promote this new product line? Is he teasing us because he just feels like maybe he's not as relevant on social media and he wants to get a little bit more hype behind him? By the way, both reasons would be a very valid reason, especially given his social media presence and how popular he is. Or is this just Kai doing, his typical Kai thing every couple of years,
It will.
What do you think?
I think that when you see him, you can block contract and say, here's the Pittsburgh and New York Pro contracts. You want to sign them? Yeah.
And if you saw Phil Heath wrote here, "I'll be your coach." So I guess maybe Phil wants to get into a contest prep now. Maybe Hani can come out of retirement and help Kai.
Well, you have to be maybe he hasn't retired like Kai hasn't retired.
It's possible. It's possible. He did say he was retiring, but I always say all bodybuilders never really retire. They kind of just take breaks,
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
I don't even know. We don't even know what Kai really looks like at this point. I don't know if he is even in a place, he's huge still, but does he have the structure? You know how what happens when you get older, your body just doesn't look as good. Does he have the structure and the skin quality to actually pull off, winning a big title at this point? If he could, there's 500,000 reasons why he'd want to do the Arnold and 600,000 reasons why he'd want to do the Olympia, which is a lot more money than was up for grabs when he was competing against Phil. But, you never know.
Yeah.
I think he's just teasing us, though. He's like the boy who cried wolf at this point. I don't believe him anymore. I don't believe him.
Well, when you see him at the he's going to have a booth, right, with the supplement line.
Yeah, but he's going to try to bamboozle me a little bit. He's going to pull the bamboozlement.
You got to be on your A game so he can't bamboozle. You got to play defense and offense at the same time.
Exactly. So did you see Donald Trump recognized Phil Heath for Black History Month?
I heard about that. I did hear about that. Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I thought that was. I wonder how who made that thing happen. You think was it Dan Solomon or was it manager Matt? Who made that happen? Let's see if we can hear.
I don't know. I didn't ask around. I should ask.
Mr. Olympia, I want to see this guy. Phil Heath. Where's Phil? Phil Heath. I don't want to compare my muscles. There he is. Thank you, Phil, very much. I appreciate it. And we're also joined by 7-time Mr. Olympia. I want to see this guy. Phil Heath.
That was nice of Trump to do that.
Maybe Don Jr. picked him because Don follows bodybuilding.
No, he does. He does. I'm surprised they didn't bring Ronnie and Phil in there for Black History Month. I mean, those guys. Lee Haney too. What about Lee Haney? Lee Haney was on the President's Council. Right?
They finagled Linda in there.
Yeah, I mean, why not? Maybe Linda could run for president. But she probably has more experience than what's her name?
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Yeah. I love what Bobby Kennedy's been saying lately.
What's he been saying?
Yeah, he's been saying a lot of good stuff about the how he's going to take care of all this this unhealthiness that's going on in this country.
I just want him to help me cure the common cold.
I think the common cold is necessary. I have a theory about the common cold. I think you want to have the common cold because I think it primes the immune system. He actually is a big advocator of not getting the flu shot. Did you know that? Did you hear his rhetoric on that?
I'm sure he is.
Because what the statistics show is that if you take the flu shot, you're a lot more likely to get other versions of the flu. Because the flu shot only really makes you immune to one version of the flu.
Yeah, whatever that winter flu version is.
Right. But if you have a much higher prevalence of getting other diseases and other sicknesses. And as a matter of fact, they've shown statistically too that you have a much higher incidence of contracting COVID if you've gotten the flu shot.
Well, George Carlin mentioned that nobody got vaccines when he was little.
they drank bottled water, yeah.
River, which was filled with sewage, and that's not their immunity. Nobody gets sick.
Swim in the sewage, yeah, right, exactly. I love that little thing you did, that little thing. But anyway, so yeah, I think Kennedy's going to do some great stuff. I'm really excited. Do you see this picture? Hold on. I gotta put stuff. Hold on, I gotta get rid of this music.
Yeah.
I can't have the music. Hold on.
Training with the shirt off, right?
He's in very good shape. He's what is he, 71 now?
Yeah, he's in really good shape for 71. Really good shape. Really. How much test do you think he used, Dave?
How much what?
Test.
I think he's on like 200 milligrams a week, I'd say. Maybe even 100. I don't know. He's not that big. He's just lean too.
He's pretty, Dave. He's decently muscled for 72.
Yeah.
And he could definitely look, what quads look like, but if he got on a little clenbuterol cardio, he probably could do the Masters Nationals.
We got to get you to do Kennedy's diet.
Yeah. Better luck him than Tucker Anthony. Tucker. Why do I keep going?
Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson's all about cigarette smoking and tobacco, and he's all into the nicotine and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, well they asked him. I learned on his show. They asked him. He had someone on the show, and Tucker said, "How much coffee do you drink a day?" And he said, "You don't want to ask." It was like this. And the analyst said, I have a cup of coffee in my hand at all times during the day. And Tucker said, "Wow, that beats me," because Tucker said, "I drink like 8 or 10 cups of coffee a day." And he said, Voltaire used to drink 40 to 70 cups of coffee a day.
What? Oh my God.
But I Googled it. It's true. The first thing, Google Voltaire and coffee. And
maybe maybe the coffee wasn't as strong back then.
Yeah, well, I thought maybe the little French cups, maybe they.
Oh, because they have those little finger cups there. They did espressos, right? They do espressos in Europe.
Maybe France.
Yeah, I think that Kennedy's going to do a really good job now that we got him in here. it'll be. I'm happy that they're going to be getting rid of stuff.
Maybe
from the
we can get him to like guest judge at one of the shows.
I'd like to get him on for an interview. Hopefully, we can get him on for an interview.
That 3 years ago when he decided to run, I said, you got to get him on. He's like into training. He's into health. He's into alternative medicine. He's like a mirror image of you.
Yeah. No, I have a lot of kinship with him. A lot of stuff he says really resonates with me. And he was telling a great story. Did I send you the story about where he talked about hallucinogens?
No.
And their usage?
He must
didn't really
love
believe in him, but a friend of his really helped him a lot. It was a very touching story. If you go to his Instagram, you should subscribe to his Instagram.
I will.
He has some really good reels on there, that stories that he tells, because a lot of people don't have the patience to watch all the interviews he does, all the podcasts, because he does these 3-hour podcast interviews with people. But they put the good clips on there, and there's some great stories on there that you would be like, I sent them to my sister and stuff like that, and they're really inspirational. I mean, this guy been through a lot. He lost his dad, when he was like 14, same age I lost my mom, and became a drug addict. For like 10 years or 15 years, he was a heroin addict. I mean, and then he, someone introduced him to the idea that believing in a higher power, because he was raised Catholic, obviously, and he said, he read it. He's all about studies. He read a study where they showed that people who believed in God, healed quicker, and got over diseases better. Even if they didn't really believe in God, just the fact that they thought, well, there's a possibility that there's a God there. So he's like, I'm just going to pretend that there's a God, and see what happens. And he said his whole life changed when he did that. And so, you got to watch the whole clip. I don't want to ruin it. His delivery is much better of the clip, but faith, it's all about faith, and it changed his whole life. So that's why he feels like such a need to give back to the community. And, I believe that his intentions are very pure, that he really wants to make this country healthier. He's sick of all the BS. I mean, they've painted this guy as a conspiracy theorist for how many years already? And all his conspiracies have come true. They're all right. They're not conspiracies,
So when you tout something that is against the establishment responds by saying you're a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the Arnold Classic. I see Brandon Curry's been speaking up. He says he wants to knock out some of these young guns. He's coming with his physique ablazing. What do you think we're going to see from Brandon Curry? A lot of people are not talking about him. This is a former Mr. Olympia. He's won the Arnold Classic. He's still looks like he hasn't really missed a beat. He wasn't in the best shape of his life for the Olympia, but he has a lot of size on his body. Do you think we're going to see the best of Brandon? Or
I don't know. But he was quasi very impressive at the Olympia. He was very full.
He was close. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very close. And when you're that type of physique, he's not small, but when your shape and flow is a little bit more of your calling cards, sometimes being close, of course, is not good enough. Especially in a lineup that we just saw back at the Olympia. So, I mean, He's dangerous. He did not look old. That is not an issue. He did not look, quote, old by any stretch of the imagination in my eyes, if you want.
He'll probably never look old. He's going to be like a Robbie Robinson, I think, guy. He'll be competing probably when he's 60. I said to you, Chris, and I truly believe this, that if Ronnie Coleman had not injured his back, he would still be competing today. He actually starting to look like Robbie Robinson a little bit, isn't he? He's got the beard, the white beard, right?
Side chest looks a lot like Robbie.
I see a lot of Robbie Robinson in him, as he's gotten older.
The shape of the body.
This is from January 16th, according to Sid. So,
thank you, Sid.
I mean, it's amazing. How old is he now?
40, maybe. I don't know. He's not.
No, he's older than 40. You kidding? He's got to be. Isn't he like close to Jay's age, or isn't he like late 40s?
Come on.
No.
Okay. Jay's 50.
Maybe he's 45 then. 42. Okay, thank you, Sid. All right, so he's still got a couple good years left, I'd say.
Roden won it when he was 43.
Right.
Kamal won it when he was 48, which record will never be broken.
No.
48 years old. Hi, I'm winning the 212 Olympia. How old are you? 30? No. 40? No. 50? Almost.
It's unbelievable. Kamal's still, even I look at his skin, it still looks great. Even, what is he, 55 now?
It's got to be 50. I think he's 54.
He's crazy. The guy's unbelievable. And he still trains like a lunatic, too.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to show you this picture. I'm sure you've seen this picture already because you're doing his diet. But Lunsford looking pretty impressive here. The one thing I noticed in this picture, and I'm assuming this is recent because he did post it recently, is that his legs look like out of control compared to what they look like at the Olympia. They're like it's like his old self came back. I don't know what he did.
I gave him a leg workout, Dave.
Yeah. Did you? How many reps? There's like 20 reps. Is it called CA Chris Aceto 20? It's called, CA 20 training. I
went back and I looked deep under my into my storage bin, and I saw an envelope from Dave Palumbo from Spain.
You gave him some Anadrol 50s? Oh, my God.
I think his legs look very good here.
Yeah, I'm very happy to see that the size came back on him. Because that was, I think, a concern a lot of people had. Will he get those legs back? Because that's really what made him very dominant in that Olympia win in 23.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a good battle between him and Samson. What I see, Samson's been really putting himself out there. I watched a clip today where Ronnie Coleman was at the Olympia. Remember when him and Gunther, they were like pitting those guys against each other?
Yeah.
Well, Ronnie I forgot at the press conference, Ronnie got up there and was posing against Gunther. You don't see that anymore. But Samson Dauda does that stuff.
Did it last year. He took a shot.
He's the only guy who'll do that. And I think it's because he really believes in himself, just like Ronnie really believed in himself,
Yeah.
So there he is right there at the East Coast Mecca with Frank Zeppi and Steve Weinberger. I think he's going to be very tough to beat. He's going to be very, very tough to beat. I can't imagine him losing unless he comes in a little off. I think his fate is in his own hands. If he comes in with better conditioning than the Olympia, he's going to win this show. Even no matter how good Derek looks or how good Andrew Jack looks. However, if he comes in a little off and leaves that door open, I think it's anyone's show. That's my take on it, which is going to make it a very hard show to predict, Chris, because how do we know if Samson's going to bring it or not? It's impossible. What's your take on this whole thing? Does Samson have his fate in his own hands, or is this?
Yeah, I would agree that he does. But guys, just if you're listening, guys into boxing now, and I said, Guy, the craziest thing is I watch boxing. I just always go on Instagram and I watch top. I've gone through every Hagler fight in the last year, every Ali fight, every Foreman fight. I think I said this last week. Every Sugar Ray Leonard fight, every Roberto Duran fight. And what's interesting is there's always a surprise and an upset.
Yeah.
In other words, Hagler lost, Duran lost, Ali loses, right when you think that they can't.
Yeah.
So the point being is that, yes, without a shadow of a doubt, Samson is the favorite, especially after or because of the fact that he won the Olympia. But, anything can happen. Just like, I was watching the fight when someone gets caught by a punch.
Oh, yeah.
Someone can hold water when they were dialed all but 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And nerves, can play a role as well.
Yeah. Did Lunsford fire Cormier from doing his training, or what was going on with that?
No, he took in. He worked with Cormier, and then he brought in Pacholik from Brazil.
Okay.
and I think he brought Cormier back again, and then I think he brought Cormier out twice.
Because someone was saying here that Cormier was picking Samson to win the show, whereas before he was on the Derek bandwagon. So yeah, I mean, Chris might just. I mean, it's not. Look, if you pick Samson to win, you have to figure he's the favorite because he won the Olympia. I mean, it's not a bad pick, you know.
He looked. Yeah, exactly.
It's really. Derek does look fucking really big though. I think that's what he was missing at this past Olympia. He was a little over dieted. I think if he brings the look that it looks like he's bringing to the stage, I think he's very dangerous. We know he's going to be tighter from behind than Samson. That's probably we don't even have to debate that. Will that be enough for him to win the show? We won't know until we see the rest of him on stage, and we won't know it until we see the rest of Samson on stage. But like I said, when you're in the Mr. Olympia, when you got that title on your name, it's going to be very hard to get knocked off unless you're just not at your best. So,
we know, Samson's gonna. I'm not saying other people are not going to be confident, but when you win the Olympia and you beat 2 other Mr. Olympias, your confidence level kind of goes through the roof.
Right.
Which is different than, coming into the Olympia trying to win it. Definitely confident as well, but it's just a whole different level because you were trying to win the Olympia with confidence, and you did win the Olympia, and it's just, it magnifies itself tenfold, going into your next show.
Right. What's going on with Andrew Jack?
Looks good. Looks like Texas, I would say.
Yeah, you think he's at that level?
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Very big. Very, very.
Is this recent?
Yeah, it's recent.
He looks enormous. Remember how we used to say Tony Freeman was like the guy you'd want to look like if you're walking through the airport with a long sleeve shirt on or a warm up jacket?
Yeah.
Andrew's the kind of guy because Andrew's tall, he's broad, like he looks impressive just walking around. I mean, he's got.
I went to meet him at the gym today.
Oh, you did? Oh,
okay. The girl said, because I come with a sports jacket on and dress shoes with jeans. Like, you're in the right place? I said, yeah, place. She did ask, you're in the right place? I said, yeah. She said, how can I help you? I said, I'm looking for someone. And she said, oh, who are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for the biggest person who would have walked through this. I couldn't finish her sentence. She goes, he's upstairs.
She pointed upstairs, yeah.
No, she just said he's upstairs. She didn't point upstairs. It's a huge gym, LA Fitness.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm looking for the biggest guy who's walked through this gym in the last, and she didn't let me finish the sentence. After last, she said, he's upstairs.
How's Andrew's legs look?
Big.
Yeah, this is this recent right there? They look enormous there.
Yeah.
He's even got his calves even look enormous.
Yeah.
He's scary because he can make improvements like you've never seen. Like, I remember when you told me you had that talk with him about what it's going to take to win the Olympia, and the improvements that he's made. What was that, about 2 years ago, maybe, or a year and a half ago?
Years ago.
Improvements he's made are unbelievable since then. It's like unreal. It's like, and he's not a young guy. He's not 28 years old. And he's doing these improvements. It's very. He's probably the closest to like a Ronnie Coleman, like in making gains to his physique. Now, granted, he doesn't train as heavy as Ronnie did and do the insane stuff Ronnie does, but
the weight that he moved in the gym today, I guarantee lots of people with a lot of muscle couldn't even do.
Oh, really? Okay.
And he was just playing with it. That was like the low cable row was the entire stack, but that was
wow.
Like 15 reps, and then it was I call it the what's like the row machine, the seated row where it's one arm at a time.
Yeah.
I don't know what they even call it. But that was 4 plates on each side.
Wow. Well, he might, maybe. I think that I would imagine he's the dark horse in this lineup. Even though he really shouldn't be considered a dark horse because he's been top 5, Olympia. But no one's really talking about him. Everyone's talking about Derek and Samson. And the truth is, Andrew has the height, the width, the size. We'll see if he has the conditioning to definitely win the show. He could absolutely go in there and win the show, which is something we don't really see, right? Because we always say, oh, it's between these two guys. No one else has a chance. But he's got that wow factor that he can come in and win the show. So the question is he going to be good enough to do it? And that's what we have to wait and see, obviously. I mean, you probably know better than we do. But do you see that scenario happening where he does come in and win?
He could potentially. He's got Jose Raymond would say he's a tough nut to crack.
In what sense?
Well, water retention.
Oh.
No matter where the body fat level is, there's always some people hold more water than others. And, some people can look like they're ready for a show 6 weeks out. And I will say that people were saying Derek would never make it, actually, going back to Derek when he was 4 weeks out. I think that was the rumble that he's not going to be in shape. So, a lot can happen in 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and 4 days.
Right. I'm excited to see what he's going to look like, obviously. Another guy who did the Texas Pro with Andrew, Carlos Thomas Jr., another dark horse in this lineup here. He's got the size, he's got the structure.
You need to get the old man on the show. Call him up.
Okay. We'll get him on after the show. We'll get him on to wrap up the show.
I haven't seen my father in a long time.
Yeah, no, Carlos Sr. is a great guy. I wish my father was so dedicated to bodybuilding. Don't you?
How about just into it?
Well, think about if you had your father's backing. Bob was essentially your father, and because of that, because your father probably was my father. They didn't even understand bodybuilding, probably.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think he's gonna do well. I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people. He's gonna make a very, impressive stand here. You got to remember he's going against 3 top 5 Olympia guys. Actually, really 4 because Brandon Curry is a former Mr. Olympia, right? And so is Bonac. Bonac also top second place Mr. Olympia. So if he can place top 5 in this lineup, obviously this is going to be a huge, huge score for him. So we'll see what happens.
Well, he's still a youngster too.
Yeah, he's the youngest guy in the lineup. What do you think of? Speaking of Bonac, what do you think of Bonac's chances going in here? He seems like he's improving.
Bonac is kind of like. Somehow written off as quote old, and he's not. That's not true either. If that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just had a great year this past year, so
he looks very impressive here. I don't know if this is recent or not. I think it is. He might shock a lot of people.
Yeah.
I thought he looked really good at the Olympia, actually.
Very, very good at the Olympia. He looked very good.
This is about as. This looks as good as I've ever seen him. Do you think that when he was, coming in second at the Olympia and pushing Brandon Curry, that the competition level was not as good as it is now, and that's maybe why he's not doing as well? Because he doesn't look like he's much different than he was when he was doing those, coming in second place.
It's just hard to compare and contrast, but there are just so many good guys right now. Look at we're talking about.
I'm saying that's what I think it is. I think that there's a lot more competition than there was when he was,
there wasn't a Samson in even when he was in 17, where he was phenomenal, and 16 he was phenomenal. That's a long time ago, but there was not like a Sam.
No, there weren't big guys. There were shorter guys.
Yeah.
Brandon was the only real, dangerous guy at that point.
Yeah.
I don't think he looks very slim. Not at all.
I don't think he looks slim at all.
No, he's round. He's cartoonish. He looks really good. Well, I hate having to make predictions, but
me too. I hate making predictions. But
if you were a betting man, give me. You don't have to put them in order. Give me the top 5, not in order. Not in order.
I'll wimp out and take the straight order from the Olympia. And the straight order from the Olympia goes Samson, Derek. Who was the next?
Andrew.
Who was the next after that?
Brandon.
No, Brandon was not high up. I think Bonac beat Brandon, right?
Oh, was he? Yeah, he might be right. He might have been one place ahead of him, right? Yeah.
Bonac, just. And then there's there's so many weird.
Brandon was 7th. Curry was 9th. Yeah. Brandon, you said, what do you mean? You meant, I think you mean Bonac was 7th.
Yeah, Bonac was 7th. Brandon was 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard thing to handicap, man.
The only difference I would put, I would slip Carlos Thomas in there.
Yeah, I mean, you always leave someone out when you try to make predictions.
I would put Carlos in that 4th position, probably 3rd, 4th position.
Well, I'm leaving him out, and people will leave him out simply because he's not competed at that level. That doesn't mean he's not at that level. It just means that he's not competed. So he's not like fresh on people's minds, like Samson, right?
Yeah. And then we got Akeem too, who did very well at the end of the year.
Yep.
So
Akeem looks good. He's gigantic.
Yeah. So it's going to be
another tough nut to crack.
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah, Jose, another tough nut. There it is. There's the lineup. So who do you guys got? Put them in the comments below. How do you think Patrick Moore will do? Or Clarita?
I'm helping Patrick Moore. I forgot about Patrick.
All right, yeah. So King Kamali and Armando Divi will be doing our live reaction show Friday and Saturday night. Those live shows where they're commenting on the contest while it's happening are very popular. So if you guys are home, I would tune into the live stream, hear their opinion. They're not going to hold back anything. I know Kamali texts me constantly the whole night at the prejudging, and then on Saturday night they'll be texting me, finding out what's going on, what we're seeing live up close. And so it'll be a great live play-by-play that they'll be doing for us. So that's going to be awesome. We're going to have some great coverage. Of course, Chris, myself, and Sid will probably, and I'm sure we'll probably see Milos and the whole crew will be doing wrap-ups right after prejudging on Friday night and after the finals on Saturday night. John Hanson is going to be joining us as well. Thank you, Sid. Also, I think there's a Meet the Arnold competitors on Thursday night. So I'm sure Chris and I will do some interviews there, and Sid and I will do some interviews there. We'll also do maybe a little. If it's not, what's the temperature supposed to be? You're there already. What is the temperature?
Freezing.
Remember last year was warm. It was warm last year.
Yeah, I have no heat in the room. My heat room is freezing actually. The heat's busted. I'm from Florida. I can't handle the cold. I'm not going to be leaving the room. I'll be walking through those little walkways they got all over the place. You're not going to wear like when you were 300, like
shorts? I'll wear shorts, Mike. I'll fly in with shorts, but to the show, I'll probably wear pants. Oh yeah, Sam Sulek will be doing the Arnold Amateur, so maybe we'll get him on Thursday as well. So
that's the show's on Wednesday. I have someone in the Arnold Amateur.
Oh, it's Wednesday?
Yes, it's Wednesday.
Sid, I thought you said it was Thursday.
I'm pretty sure it's Wednesday. I'm trying to pick on Wednesday.
If you're there, then we'll have to get you to interview him. That's all.
Yeah. So how it feel losing to the guy I coached?
Oh, you're coaching someone in his class?
Yeah, very, 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 very good.
Well, I'll be leaving Thursday morning. I'll be there Thursday early, not early morning, but I'll be there Thursday morning. I actually somehow got a direct flight. It's on some airline that I think has birds that have wings that flap, but I'll be there going direct.
You fly in the airline where it's cheaper that they charge you $400 for the bag.
Yeah, it's $100 round trip on Breeze, but then you have to, for a carry-on bag, it's like $350, and then if you actually want a seat on the plane, it's another like $150. That they don't tell you that the seat is not included. And I'm not even making this up. That's the airfare, but then you got to pay for your seat. So, and all the seats have different prices on them, like $35 for this one, $50 for that one, $75 for that one. It's a short flight.
We flew in Europe to bodybuilding shows, me and Sean.
Yeah.
And we flew on this cheap airline where not only did you have, it was like $5. The luggage was like $400. Wait. And you had to, when have you ever gone to like, you had to sit through an live infomercial where the stewardesses would like sell like Fiberlies. It was like Home Shopping Network. But before you took off, they would say like, Fiberlies.
Right.
12 grams and
well, now the shtick now is that, Chris, that if you want free internet on the plane or you want free entertainment, you have to watch also the commercials there.
Oh boy.
So I was coming back from California. I unfortunately I fell asleep. I was watching a really good documentary. You guys are on a plane if you're going to be coming to the Arnold. There was a documentary on Humphrey Bogart. Did you see it?
No.
It's really good.
I don't watch nothing, Dave. You know that.
I'm telling you, if you have a chance to watch it on your plane ride home, watch the Humphrey Bogart documentary. It was very well done. I have to I'm going to rewatch it on the way here because I only saw the first half and I fell asleep.
Who was he married to? Who was his wife?
Oh, he was married to like 3 women, but the last one was Lauren Bacall.
Yeah, Lauren Bacall.
Beautiful, beauty.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but he was like a loser.
Dave, did your father not find Lauren Bacall absolutely beautiful? Probably.
No, he liked it. He liked it. I think he liked Bogart too. Bogart was really a loser, actor in the beginning of his career. It wasn't until his later career, like he had a second like wind he got after 40 years old, and that's when he became the most popular. So there he is. Classic look. They told him he was very average looking. So that's why he wasn't making it. Oh, by the way, John Mancini mentioned, I've been watching this Robert De Niro thing. It's called Ground Zero. What is it called? Day Zero. Very good on Netflix. I know you're doing nothing all day long. Watch it. It's a limited series on Netflix. It's called 0 Day. Very good. De Niro. Not that I love De Niro's political. I hate De Niro's political views, but he plays a former president. It's a weird, probably very similar to what's going on in the real world right now. But they hack the grid and they bring him back to find out. The new president brings him back to help lead this council to figure out what's going on. I'm not going to tell you any more than that, but it's very entertaining. So check it out. All right, that's going to do it. I think we're out of time, and we'll see you guys at the Arnold Classic. Who do you think's going to win Classic of the City, Chris? Wesley Visters? Sommerfeld?
I think the top 3 are going to be Grego, Sommerfeld, and Visters.
I agree, 100%. I think Sommerfeld's the guy to beat. He was very impressive. He really looked almost better than Bumstead in a couple poses at the Olympia. I think Visters is a crapshoot. I think he's either going to be great or he's going to be a little off. And if he's a little off, I think Grego could even beat him. So
yeah.
If I'm a betting man, I'm going with Mike Sommerfeld. There you go. There you have it. And as we say, Chris, every week here at Heavy Muscle Radio.
From Columbus, the truth hurts.
See you next time.